Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 2,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Let's be honest with each other. When you signed up to be a Vikings fan, you knew this was going to happen eventually. You knew that the moment a player became genuinely important to this defense, genuinely irreplaceable, genuinely the kind of guy who makes quarterbacks nervous just by lining up across from them, the salary cap was going to come for him like a heat-seeking missile. And right now, it's got a lock on Jonathan Greenard. Welcome back, everyone. If this is your first time here, buckle up, because we are diving deep into one of the most compelling roster storylines swirling around the Minnesota Vikings as we head into the 2026 free agency period. The Greenard situation is messy, it is layered, it is equal parts frustrating and fascinating, and depending on how the next few weeks unfold, it could reshape the entire identity of Minnesota's defensive front. So let's break it all down, piece by piece, and figure out exactly what we're looking at here. Let's start with the man himself. Jonathan Greenard, 28 years old, turning 29 in May. A first-year Pro Bowler in 2024 when he absolutely lit the league on fire with 12 sacks, 18 tackles for loss, and 47 quarterback pressures that made offensive coordinators lose sleep. He arrived in Minnesota after 4 solid years with the Houston Texans, signed a 4-year, $76 million deal in March of 2024, and immediately became the heartbeat of Brian Flores' aggressive, relentless defensive system. He was a team captain. He was a leader. He was the guy you wanted on your side when the game was on the line. And then 2025 happened. A shoulder injury knocked Greenard out of 5 games. He played through pain in several others. When the final stat line was tallied, it read just 3 sacks across 12 appearances. Now, his pressure numbers remained solid: 47 total QB pressures, 10 tackles for loss. But in a league where edge rushers are measured almost exclusively by sack totals, 3 sacks is a number that gives front offices pause. It creates uncertainty. It opens the door to uncomfortable conversations. And in Minnesota's case, it's opened the door to something even more uncomfortable: trade rumors with real legs. Here's where the contract situation gets genuinely complicated, and this is the part every Vikings fan needs to understand clearly before they take sides on this. Greenard is owed $38 million over the next 2 seasons on his current deal, $19 million per year. That was a fair number in 2024. But the pass rusher market has absolutely exploded since then. Guys at his position are now pulling down contracts north of $45, even $47 million annually. The top of the market has lapped Greenard's deal twice over, and so, quite understandably, Greenard is looking for what reporters are calling a market correction, which is the polite, professional way of saying he wants a raise, and he wants it now. The Vikings, on the other hand, are staring down a salary cap deficit that, at various points this offseason, has been reported anywhere between $43 and $46.5 million over the cap. This is not a team with wiggle room. This is a team that has already announced the releases of running back Aaron Jones and defensive tackle Javon Hargrave just to get breathing room. Tight end TJ Hawkinson is reportedly a cut candidate as well. The cap situation that former general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah left behind has the new front office juggling chainsaws, and now one of those chainsaws is named Greenard. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Vikings have been open to trading Greenard, even though they would genuinely prefer to keep him. And in a rare moment of brutal honesty, Schefter added that when teams become open to trading a player, and there are discussions happening, trades usually happen. His exact framing was, "It's probably more likely than not." That's not a guy hedging his words. That's an insider telegraphing where this is headed. Now the price. This is where things get really interesting and where Vikings fans should lean in. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN has reported that Minnesota is asking for a day 2 pick, meaning a second or third round selection. That's the baseline, not a first rounder. The reality is that Greenard is 28, about to turn 29, coming off a 3-sack season, and teams don't hand out first-round picks for that profile. Max Crosby just fetched 2 first-round picks from the Baltimore Ravens when the Raiders shipped him out. But Crosby is a different category of player entirely. Greenard's market, while legitimate and real, is operating in a different tier. Speaking of Crosby, that trade matters for the Greenard situation in a very specific way. The moment Crosby was off the market, a bunch of edge-needy teams that were competing for his services suddenly needed to look elsewhere. The musical chairs game for premier pass rushers just got a very important chair removed, and now everyone else is scrambling for whatever's left. Greenard becomes significantly more attractive in that context. He becomes the best available option for multiple teams simultaneously, and that demand is exactly the leverage Minnesota needs to extract maximum value. So who's actually calling the Vikings? According to multiple reports, the answer is essentially half the league. But 2 names have emerged as the most prominently connected suitors, and they couldn't be more different from one another. The first is the New England Patriots. Doug Wolfson of Score North was among the first to connect New England to Greenard, and it makes enormous sense when you think about it. Mike Vrabel is building something in Foxborough. The Patriots have around $40 million in cap space to spend, one of the most flexible rosters in the league heading into this offseason. They also own the 31st and 63rd picks in the 2026 NFL Draft. And defensively, their current edge situation features Anthony Jennings and Harold Landry as primary options, which is not exactly inspiring terror in opposing quarterbacks. Vrabel is a defensive coach by trade. He loves disruptive edge players. He spent years coaching them in Tennessee. Greenard fits his system like a hand in a glove, and New England has both the picks and the cap space to make the money work, including absorbing whatever new contract extension Greenard is seeking as part of any trade package. The second name is the Philadelphia Eagles, and that one carries a different kind of intrigue. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN confirmed that the Eagles have already inquired about Greenard's availability. Now, Philadelphia's interest is somewhat contingent on what happens with their own edge rusher, Jalen Phillips, who is heading into free agency. If Phillips re-signs with the Eagles, Greenard probably falls off their radar. But if Phillips walks, Greenard becomes a primary target. The Eagles also have Boy Mayfair of the Seahawks on their contingency list, per reports, but Greenard's combination of cap-relative affordability and proven production makes him an attractive option. Philadelphia holds the 23rd and 54th picks in this draft, which are both meaningful assets. Now let's be clear about something, because this is a point worth hammering home. Both of these teams are NFC and AFC contenders, respectively. The Eagles just won a Super Bowl not long ago. The Patriots are rebuilding, but with Vrabel at the helm, they're building fast. If Greenard ends up on either of these rosters, there's a real scenario where the Vikings have to face him in a meaningful game. That's the part that stings. Not just losing a great player, but potentially having him come back and haunt you when it matters. That said, let's talk about why Minnesota might actually survive this loss better than you'd expect. And the 2 words you need to know are Dallas Turner. Turner is a 22-year-old third-year edge rusher who was a first-round pick in 2024. In 2025, while sharing duties and dealing with the veterans around him getting hurt, Turner quietly put together an 8-sack season. 8 sacks. And the most encouraging thing wasn't just the total, it was the trajectory. 6.5 of those 8 sacks came in the final 8 games of the season. He was accelerating as the year went on, getting better, getting more comfortable, figuring out the nuances of playing opposite established veterans. If Greenard is moved, Turner doesn't just step into a bigger role, he steps into the spotlight he's clearly ready for. Add in the continued presence of Andrew Van Ginkel on the other side, Bo Richter, Chaz Shilatsi, Tyler Batty, and the newly tendered Jalen Redmond, who just came off a 6-sack season himself as an interior rusher, and the Vikings are not walking into the post-Greenard era defenseless. They have pieces, they have a young core, they have a foundation. It won't look the same and it won't feel the same, but it won't be a disaster either. Now, here's the part where we get to play general manager for a minute, because the draft capital angle of this discussion is fascinating. The Vikings already own 4 picks in the top 100 of the 2026 NFL Draft. They are rich in early round capital by almost any reasonable standard. But the 2027 draft class is shaping up to be potentially historic at the quarterback position, and new general manager Tom Brzezinski, who took over from Adofo-Mensah, is in the business of building long-term. If trading Greenard now gets you an early second-round pick for 2026, great. But if bundling Greenard with a 5th-round pick gets you a first-round selection in 2027's quarterback-rich class, now you're playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. The Vikings quarterback situation remains very much an open question beyond the immediate future, and if Brzezinski is able to use Greenard as currency to stockpile assets for a quarterback-centric 2027 draft, that could be the move that defines his early tenure as GM. No pressure or anything. Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated put it plainly in his reporting. The Vikings view Greenard as one of their best players and won't simply let him go for nothing. But if someone comes with a big offer, a deal can be had. That's not an organization that wants to trade him. That's an organization that knows it might have to and is determined to get every possible ounce of value if it does. The Athletic's Alec Lewis added important context as well, noting that the Vikings think the world of Greenard both as a player and as a person in the locker room. He signed what now looks like a team-friendly deal in 2024. Minnesota's cap crunch, created not by the current front office but by decisions made before Brzezinski arrived, is the complicating factor. Interested teams will need to bring real draft capital and be prepared to offer Greenard the contract extension he's looking for. So where does this leave us heading into the first days of the new league year? Minnesota still hasn't found a trade partner that has pushed the needle enough to trigger a deal. Free agency is officially open, and the next 48 to 72 hours will be incredibly telling. If Phillips re-signs in Philadelphia, the Eagles likely pivot elsewhere. If New England makes a run at a big-name free agent pass rusher instead, their interest could cool. Conversely, if Phillips walks and other options dry up across the league, the phone in Minnesota's war room is going to be ringing off the hook. Adam Schefter's read on this is clear. He thinks a trade probably happens. Jeremy Fowler's reporting suggests the market is active and real. Multiple sources across the league describe serious, ongoing conversations. The momentum is pointing in one direction. Jonathan Greenard's time in Minnesota may be winding down. And honestly, as heartbreaking as that is for a fan base that watched him become a team captain and a Pro Bowler, the business of football is exactly that, business. Greenard is going to get paid. He's going to get his market correction. He deserves it. He's a legitimate NFL difference maker who earned every dollar. The only question is whether a Vikings uniform is still on his back when the check clears. If Tom Brzezinski can extract a first-round pick from this situation, whether through a straight trade, a package involving other assets, or by waiting out the market until desperation sets in somewhere, he will have pulled off one of the offseason's signature moves. And yeah, you might be sweating bullets the next time that team shows up on the schedule. You might be hoping Greenard has a quiet day. But that's the price of doing business at a high level, and right now, the Vikings are doing business. Keep watching this space, because this story is moving fast, and it is nowhere near finished. And hey, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, you already know what that means. Drop a comment below. Tell me where you think Greenard lands. Are you Team Patriots? Team Eagles? Is there a dark horse destination you think nobody's talking about? Let me know. Hit the like button if this video gave you something to think about, and if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We are here every single day, breaking down the Vikings, the Blue Jays, and everything happening across the sports world with the depth and the energy it deserves. Ring that notification bell so you never miss a thing. We'll see you in the next one.
Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 2,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button right now.